Hi, everyone. I'm here with John Ross, the TO and EO of Warzone Atlanta. Hi, John.
So good to be on your show today, Bo.
Right. We are going to, over the next few days, we're going to talk about the lists that are going for the bolt action part of Warzone Atlanta because you have a lot more other stuff going on as well, right? You have 40K going on as well. Are you hosting other tournaments at the same time beyond that?
Age of Sigmar as well. So Warzone, I think this is our 8th or 9th year doing it,
Yeah.
and it is a GT style event. There'll be recons or smaller events, team events, and things on Fridays, but we're only going to talk about the 2-day Saturday,
Yeah.
Sunday event today.
Yeah.
But we have Age of Sigmar, we have 40K, we have Bolt Action. This is our first year doing Age of Sigmar, and I'm really excited about we'll have 24 players or 26 players there, so it'll be fun.
Nice. Now, John sent me the lists in advance, so I've been looking over them. I've taken a few notes, but we haven't had time actually to do like a full meta spread and like meta analysis of what's going on. So what we will be doing is we'll be talking about the lists. We'll be talking like giving our initial reactions to what we're seeing here. John, would you just talk us through what is happening with the pack for the main event? Because I know that there are two bolt action events. There's a recon style on Friday, and then
A fun event, yeah.
Yeah. And then the main, like the competitive event with 1,000 points. Could you maybe show us the pack and just talk us through what's happening there?
Sure. Now, I do have to ask you a question. So is it a Euro thing? Do I need to zip this all the way up?
No,
So
it's
that
just
so that
because I can't show you. I saw it right now. The weather has gone down. The sun is off, and there's snow everywhere because winter apparently arrived in Denmark. So it's -7 degrees. Everyone is freezing. So so I'm buckled up, but you don't have to be at all.
okay. Okay, got it. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here.
Right.
There we go. And you should be seeing the mission statement for our event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
and by the way, I will link that in the description for this video as well, so that people can go watch it.
So Warzone is the tournament. We used to go to tournaments and kind of gripe about the things that went wrong at tournaments, and rather than being a critic, you have to like step up and do it. So we do a lot of things differently. We pay for lunch both days. The lunch is right on the venue, so people don't wander off and get late. We have bar service. There's a bartender that will come up and servers that will come up and take your drinks while you play. And all the tables are spaced out so that you never are bumping butts. So all of these things that we do, there's 2 chairs for every table, so you got place for your arm, you place to sit down. All this effort that we put in to make sure that it's a great event. But for the main event, let's see, I have some special rules that we did. So it's 1,000 points. It is theater selectors allowed, multiple platoons allowed, no armored companies. But there were 3 or 4 special rules. So one of them is that I put rules in for how vehicle wrecks will behave, because those are unclear. The second one is in order to encourage people to bring one of the most iconic weapons of World War II, the MMG, we allow it to spit out an automatic pin whether it hits or not, and a second pin if it does hit. I know a lot of clubs are doing this. I think the Juggernauts probably did this first, or maybe we did it first. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but I'll give them credit for that. And then we do on armored transports, you don't take pins from small arms fire. You do from HE to try to encourage more half tracks. They're iconic too. There's not many coming. And then Tiger Fear we dump, and we say all German tanks with a light AT gun or larger get improved German optics, so that means they don't take the penalty for long range. And then just to encourage, before the new Italian list, to encourage more Italian players, we did, it's only a +1, not a plus or -1, not a plus or -2. Didn't change anything because no Italian players are showing up. So that's kind of it.
That didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
Yeah. I also want to just note down that one of the things that really surprised me was that you are actually allowing people to select different platoons. So you can have one platoon as a generic reinforced platoon, and then you can take a theater selector for your second platoon.
Yeah.
Which really allows for some very clever combos. I'll say something once we get to some of the players who's really benefited from this, where you get some really interesting combos where you can slot stuff in that you couldn't normally take, and there's some really good stuff there.
I know theater selectors and multiple tunes. I know it makes people very, very nervous, and it certainly makes your job as a TO when you're proofing the lists hard.
Yeah.
And I know I made I've done a dozen corrections, and I'm sure I missed some stuff. We'll probably catch some as we go along today. But if in the base generic platoons, if someone brings a bamboo spear horde, or someone brings a huge Soviet list, or the rest of it, those are really tough lists. And so allowing people to kind of pick and choose more, play with more of their toys. It's more fun. Play with your toys, right? So I try to say yes wherever I can. There were some limits. So no armor platoons, no naval observers, and no special characters. And then the British Army's just
pretty standard, right?
Pretty standard, right? But the British people, it's just one special rule. So you can't bring a free Indian squad and also take up an atom or whatever. So we tried to do that. And then I did a limits on Gurkhas, armored vehicles with more than 2 MGs, and flamethrowers, so that we didn't have flamethrower spam and the rest and the rest of it.
Yeah. That is also like the thing that most players complain about is a little bit broken or overpowered is either the spamming of flamethrowers or of Gurkhas or of machine gun tanks. So makes sense again. It just to broaden out what people bring, basically. Yeah.
Correct. Because otherwise you'd see the same British lists over and over and over, like you see at WTC or some other events. You see very much the same list. I think it worked. I think that as we see today, you'll see more things. But those are the only rules. And then because of the MMG rule, I didn't want an 8 MG list, just shutting somebody down. So we did that. But that's it.
Yeah. So let's talk about the lists, shall we? And the first list that we're going to talk about is Alan's British.
There we go. Let me see if I can share this down.
And this is a list I feel like I have a little bit of a hand in, because Alan and me, we've been playing games on TTS, and so we've been actually talking a little bit about how to run this British list, and I've reviewed his list on my channel as well. What do you think about the list here? There's of course a few Gurkha units here, but there's also a Maori veteran unit, which is like a nice little bonus assault unit. It's not as good as the Gurkhas, but it's still pretty good.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah, and there's the Royal Engineers, of course, and he's also brought the Indian extra manpower of the Empire. So he's got a lot of infantry in this list. What do you think of it?
I think it's a great list, and I can see your hand in it. Alan's a very strong player. He went to WTC last year. He won't be coming this year, but he played last year, and he was he came in second place or something. He won an award. He's a very strong player. I think this is a very tight list. It's got a lot of good things in it. I mean, the Piat you can question, it's the only choice they've got, and it kind of slots in. But the Staghound is a great armored car, one of the best in the game.
Really good.
And then he's got a Stuart, So if you look at this list, it's really tight. It's got assault elements to it. It's got enough machine gun fire to shut down a lot of other things coming at you. And it's got the best artillery piece in the game, the 25-pounder, because it's an AT gun and a howitzer. So I think it's a great list.
And at the same time, for me, it also has 3 armored choices. So it has assault, it has the armor, it has the anti-tank capability, because the 25-pounder, of course, doubles up as a light AT gun. I mean, it just has a lot of different tools. I really like this list. For me, in this format, it could maybe be optimized a little bit if you went into double platooning, but or otherwise, for me, it's like a 4 list. It's really good. It's a very, very strong competitor for top placement, I think.
I agree. I think this will be one of the lists to beat.
Yeah, and of course Alan as a player as well. That also pushes him up there, right? Yeah,
he is a very good player. Let's go to the next one.
Then we're talking about Josh. Sorry, was that no? It's the Fallschirmjäger Boombot list. That's it. Was that Joshua, or who was it that brought this list?
This one is Joshua Arnold. So what do you think of this list? Because I think it's quite fun.
It is fun. It is one thing. It's going to be fun to play. It is going to be amazingly fun to play. It looks very much like a list I faced off, or we had at the tournament that I went to last weekend, where someone picks out the green Fallschirmjäger, someone picks out like all the fun bits of the German army, including God damn it, a Goliath, but there's still some teeth into it. There's the Nebelwerfer. Um, there's a little bit of feeling for me that this is what I would call a camping German list, like a list that wants to stay back and shoot you at range.
Yeah.
Um,
So the key to this list, and of course, Easy Army doesn't have these new rules, but he's got the Fallschirm Pioneer Squad in here, which is the +1 to hit with flamethrowers.
Yeah.
And he's got
the new double shot Gewehr 43 and the Borgward, which is just we had that play at the weekend. No one knew how to play against it, so I'm guessing he will surprise a lot of players with that.
Well, what makes this fun is he's got a really bad version of it, the original one, and then he's got this new one, which is really good. But these two little remote control tanks rolling across, blowing stuff up, and he's got the snipers that can move and fire like Americans, and they can fire twice, and 2 flamethrowers with +1s to hit. This is the real meat of the army, right?
It is.
This is going to be the very tough part. But then he's got a bunch of green Fallschirmjäger squads, which if he gets lucky on the green rolls are strong. And he's got enough transports to be where he needs to be. And I think it's a really fun list.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be one where if he knows how to play it right, he's going to be able to put a lot of threats on the table people don't know how to respond to and have a lot of fun with it. But no big tanks here. So
no, and I think because he's bringing a lot of these new units, people won't. They don't know how to play against them yet. They haven't figured out how to do that. So I think he might surprise quite a few people, even though he has a lot of not extremely competitive choices in his list. So good on you, Joshua. I really enjoyed reading that list. That's going to be fun to play against and with, I think.
Well, and an award for the most creative name, the Boombot list, which is Fallschirmjäger Boombots. I think the Goliath is one of the worst units in the game. It's really terrible because most of the time it does nothing, right? But the new version is cool, and I just two robots rolling across the table. You got to give him credit for that. I hope he models them as like the Doctor Who. What were those robots?
Yeah.
Daleks. That would be, the Daleks, cool. Right? That would be a great thing. All right, let's go to the next one.
Then we have Bruce and his Germans.
So hey, you're the expert here. I think this is a pretty straightforward German list. You'd see this in a lot of tournaments, right?
You would. I don't see it doing massively well because it has the element of being a Death Star list, right, with the expensive tank and the low order dice count. But it is a standard German list where you see many of these choices being picked again and again. So yeah, it's a very it's not a completely expected list, but you expect to see them sometimes at least. Yeah.
So he's a little light on infantry, I think.
Yeah, he is.
He's got a medium howitzer, which it's not a bad choice in any army, but there are other armies that do artillery better than Germans, and so and he's got this heavy armored car, which is nice, which has got the light autocannon. I think that's always a great choice.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
And then he's got a Panzer III, but he took the 9+ Panzer III with the medium AT gun. We've been seeing in the tournament scene, it's the light one with the triple machine guns is the one that seems to be rocking. An interesting choice here. It's one of the few Armor 9 or better tanks in all of the lists we'll see today.
Yeah, and that's why I'm calling this a Death Star list, because he has that slightly more expensive tank with a 9+ and a medium anti-tank gun. He will do well against Stuarts, by the way. He will absolutely kill them if he can hit. But that nice little bonus that you gave him with the long range optics, that should help him out.
I think so. It's a low order dice count, which I think is going to be tough against most of these lists. I think our average is
that's the main worry for me as well. Yeah,
the average is 14.5. Yeah, with the high being 22. So that's what we should see today.
Yeah. Then we have
Calvin, I believe is on my
American Skirmish with Engineers. I like this list. It's one of those lists where it's difficult to evaluate exactly how strong it is, especially for me, because I'm not a huge fan of skirmishes, but I am seeing a lot of lists like this one do very well in tournaments.
But when you say skirmish, I'm not sure that's a phrase we use in the States. What do you mean by that?
It has a lot of rifles. It has a lot of BARs. It has a lot of ranged capability where you can fire and sort of move a little bit, maneuverable skirmish units. That's what I would term skirmish. For instance, he has like 5 infantry sections. So all of them has range, which is really nice. They'll shoot you at range, and maybe they'll push up a bit with some of the units at some point, but they don't need to. Which is why I term this a skirmish army. Yeah.
So he's done some interesting things here. So he's a great player. He's very young. I think he's a teenager, and he played last year, and I think he did. I may have been his first tournament ever. He did very well, but he's got submachine guns in with his Americans, and you often don't see that because of the American move and fire rule. How do you feel about those engineer squads with all those SMGs?
I feel that they will push up in a vehicle, and then they will get dumped out, and then because they have that extra the extra firepower, they may actually use that if the flamer doesn't hit. They may need the extra firepower. Normally I wouldn't. I would just save the points, but I do see the point of taking that. If you're going to go on foot, I would never do that, but in a Dodge truck, I see the point of actually building them like he's done here. And of course, he does bring some transport for this. So
he's got the transports. He's got the M51 machine gun carriage, which I think is a great choice.
Yeah.
It's really fun. And then he's got a Stuart, obviously, because everyone's got to bring a Stuart. Stuart's by far the #1 tank in all the lists. Yeah. He did a single platoon, but the fun thing he's got is the armored Jeep with twin bazookas on it, which I believe he won last year as a prize. So nice. I'm excited to see him bring it. I think it's one of the coolest items in the American list.
And it's amazingly good. I have played against the double shot bazookas here, and it's just such a good little tank hunter. He will, if he uses that against the enemy Stuarts, he will definitely be able to kill that, because you got 2 shots. It's a great little armored car. Yes, you get pinned for being open top, and yes, you only have the armor in the front, so it can't stand up to a lot of beating. But it is a really good little tank hunter, basically. Yeah.
It's such a good unit, and it can get where you need it to get, which is on the sides of all those Stuarts. So I think he's got a really fun list. It'll be fun to play against. It could be optimized. He could have taken 2 platoons and gotten a second Stuart and all the rest of that. But I gave him props for the way he built this list. It's very different than what you'd see.
Yeah. Right. Then we're going to Curtis.
My good buddy Curtis here. Come on. There we go. All right, what are your thoughts on this one? This is a 18 dice big Soviet list.
For me, this is what I call term an MSU list. So multiple small units, and you'll see this once we go through. He has so many dog mines and so many like small infantry choices and extra little units, and then a Katyusha thrown in there. And I mean, he has a lot of capability in this list, and all those small units, they are going to feed their order dice into the units that he needs to kill whatever he's aiming for in that turn. So I think this could also do very, very well. He will suffer in kill points though.
So he will, but you know, and he's a very strong player, by the way. But so he's got these big veteran squads. Yeah. Which I like, and all of his squads have got Panzerfaust, so every squad's an anti-tank threat, right? Yeah. And then he's got all of these dog mines, which are so irritating. They're the magic missile of our game, right?
Yeah, they are.
And you know, when you play dog mines, the trick to it is making sure that your dog mines are on the other side of the woods or other side of the building, so if they fail, they don't blow up your own stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And so if you know how to play them right, they can be exceedingly strong. And then he's got this BA-20 with the flamethrower, which of course is always exactly where you don't want it to be, flaming all your stuff, right?
Yeah. And except if I use it, it always misses and then runs out.
Yeah. He's got the Gaz Jeep, which is a great choice. You know, it's just such a nice little truck. And then in the second platoon, we got more of this stuff. You know, lots more Panzerfausts. You've
Light
got
mortar team again, a small unit here. We get yeah.
And then the ubiquitous Steward. So, but so many dog mines. He's got dog mines all over the table, and so
you can't get out. You're going to lose your tank. That will happen. Even if he blows up his own Steward and Katusha, he's still going to kill the enemy tank. I guarantee that. With that many dog mines, it'll just happen.
I think it's one of the stronger lists that was submitted. You agree?
Yeah. I agree. I don't know that it is the strongest. That really depends on how he does, how good he is at preserving his strength in the kill point missions. Because I see this as potentially losing kill point missions. But in objective missions or against armored platoons or against like platoons that has a lot of armor, he's going to do so well. So yeah. I would want to play against this with my partisans, which has 0 tanks. That would be good.
Yeah. So I don't think we had many people submit lists with no tanks whatsoever. So so he should have a good day, I would think.
I think he will. Yeah.
And
then we have Curtis H with his Finns.
Yeah, so this is a Finnish list. He's got the Sissy squads, which you see a lot of.
Yeah.
He's got a sniper, anti-tank rifle, BA-10, just a normal BA-10 with the light AT gun, not with the flamethrower. He's got the BT-42. The Finns are always weak on tanks, but the BT-42 is a great choice because it's got the medium howitzer.
Yeah.
And then in his second platoon, he's got the
Karis and the Kaukapashos. And then another sniper.
And another sniper.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think this could still be optimized a bit. For me, the inclusion of a howitzer tank when you don't have an actual howitzer seems weird. I would pay less points and just get the howitzer first. Maybe also a mortar team. I think he's spending a lot of points on the Jakaris and on the Kaukapashos, which I'm not sure he'll get his money's worth on that. And at the same time, he's low on order dice. And for us, the Finns are a naturally skirmish army because all the infantry is just so good at skirmishing. But being low on order dice, he's going to struggle with that, I think.
I mean, the Finns are an elite army, and someone who really knows how to play them right and to use their special rules, they could end up frustrating a lot of players.
Oh yeah,
you don't see a lot of Finns played in the U.S., so I think and Warzone
there will be players. There will be players who are surprised, I guess.
Yeah, they will be. He's I think the only player to bring bicycles. Yeah. And those will sometimes catch you unsurprised if the board's got a road. A lot of my boards do have roads, so. Suddenly a squad's right in your face you didn't expect to be there before because they're on trikes.
So that's very clever. Are you actually saying that he knows your standard board layout and that he built his list for that?
So I don't know. I mean, all the pictures of the boards were up from last year.
Yeah.
And my tables are very dense. They've got a lot of terrain. They're very realistic tables, but there are a lot of roads on those tables. So maybe he did think that through. I will guarantee you that the 3 multi-launcher player saw my tables from last year and thought, I'm going to bring that a lot of buildings. So
but we're getting to that in a later video. So right, and then we have a Polish list for the final list in this video. Here we go.
This is David's list. Let me make it smaller here. Yeah, so he's got cavalry. So he's got 3 units of cavalry in this list. He's got the Bofors, which is a great choice.
Yeah. And the marksman and the TKS. The TKS, by the way, one of my absolute favorite armored cars in the whole game. It's just amazing.
Because why? Because of the autocannon?
Because of the autocannon, because it's so small, and because it has the recce still, so it can recce away from anything that's threatening, and at the same time the autocannon can and will deliver pins to anything, and you're pretty likely to hit because you get the 2 shots. So I'm a massive fan.
It's not because it's the cutest tank in the game.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
It can hide behind everything. So And he's got this Vickers tank, which I like. You know, the Poles don't have a bunch of choices for tanks, but this is fun. It's the double MG turrets, which is kind of a fun early war thing. And platoon 2, he's got some green infantry here.
And for me, this is the really clever bit, bringing the Warsaw Uprising as a second platoon, because completely ahistorical. Because I mean, the early war Polish, they fought for Poland. The Warsaw Uprising was a completely other thing, but you get some of the things that the Polish Lancer lists lack. You get decent infantry, very cheap green. You get a lot of anti-tank, and you get a decent armored car that has a flamethrower.
I love it.
I mean, it's just so clever, so clever.
I saw this as well. So listen, we're playing Warhammer 1940K here. So this is the historical. In my list, bring your toys, play with all your toys, and come have fun. The point's to come have fun with all your toys. I think it was a very clever add too. I think it
was. It really was.
He's got the cavalry to be in your face. He's got that armored car with a flamethrower is always right in your face, where you don't want it to be. Piats suck, but you know it's what he's got. And he's got 2 of them, so if he can get them in the right position, it could be really strong. Yeah.
And it's what the normal Polish Lancer lists lack. They lack the flamethrower. They lack the anti-tank, and he brings it. I mean, that's just so clever. For me, this is a 4 as well as a list. If we're ranking them from 1 to 5, this is a 4. It could be optimized a little further still. I would like to have seen an extra cavalry unit, but it's a very good list.
So he's bringing 6-man cavalry squads. Are those big enough?
For veterans, yes. We have regular Polish cavalry players here in Denmark, and for veterans they will often bring 6-man units, because you're charging with double attacks. That's 12 attacks, and you're tough fighter. You're pretty likely to just kill any unit that you connect with, and the veterans do make you more survivable. So yeah. If you go regular, then you need more men in the unit typically. But yeah, I think it might be enough.
So the good thing about those 6-man units is you can hide them. Yeah. You know, you get an 8-man cavalry squad. It's kind of sometimes tough to get any cover bonuses behind fences and other things. So I thought it was really interesting and an interesting choice. Yeah, I think you know, if an experienced player, I think could do very well with this list. And he's got 15 order dice, which is good.
High. Yeah. Right. That was it for this video, and we will get back to the lists, doing the next 8 lists I think we'll do in the next video. So I will see you with John tomorrow here. Right. Thank you for showing us the lists, John, and I'll talk to you tomorrow again.
Very cool.